Are you looking for a podcast with catchy original music and hilarious comedy? Check out the Smile Syndicate Music Hour. Each week, Jason and Miss Elizabeth bring you fun new music from across the genres. And don't forget the comedy. Hear crazy stories straight out of the Smile Syndicate's hometown of Smileton.
I'll bury them out in the desert. Mark my words.
Chilling crime stories.
The horse had wandered into Sheila's office, stomped the cash box, and consumed the money.
Sound life advice.
Stay off the catnip, stay off the dope, keep your clothes on, behave yourself.
And much, much more. Subscribe to the Smile Syndicate Music Hour podcast. You won't believe a single one of your senses.
Tell it to your face. Yeah, that's right. You didn't think I was going to do that right off the top, did you?
No, I wanted you to.
That's Tiara.
That's Dean.
And we're here today. We're going to be talking about, this is our season premiere.
Season 4!
Of season 4. Now, before we get into the season, we finished off last season with a kind of a cliffhanger. What was going on there? But before we get into that, even we're going to get into a little show
sausage,
a little sausage making. It's not so. It's just more news. So what we've got a logo contest going on.
Yes.
So we currently have 3 logos that we're selling that we have on our merch site. We're looking for one more, and go ahead.
Our logo person, our person doing all our merch, really likes symmetry and really wants a 4th logo.
So we're looking, and within 2 weeks from now, and I can't remember the date that I said, but it's on our site.
Yes.
Within 2 weeks, if you can get us a logo design with all the information, if you go to our Facebook group, it has all the information there that you need to know for the logo. So that's all there. It's also on our Twitter. So, also, we have a cosplay contest that we're going to be doing at the end of each month throughout season 4. We may be doing it continually. I don't know yet. We're going to see how that goes through season 4. Also, rules are on our Twitter and our Facebook. And today we started our new music for every episode. Today's is actually a podcast does a music variety show called The Smile Syndicate, and the music that is on our podcast today is from them. And I will have all their information in our show notes, but easy way to find them is thesmilesyndicate.com. Pretty easy. And they're out of I believe I know they're Canadian. I want to say they're out of Edmonton. But brain's not working right now. But I will put that information in there. So yeah, that's they're awesome. So
yeah, and if you're a band out there and you are not signed to a label and you want exposure, because we can't pay you because we don't get paid.
Right.
But we can give all the shout outs and put you all over our social media and
we'll
all
put
over
you in
Reddit.
our playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the other thing that I announced at the end of our little mini-sode. We are now the official partner podcast of the Letterkenny subreddit.
Yep.
And
it's crazy.
Yeah, so that's awesome. And speaking of awesome is our guest for today, who is also a Patreon patron. What do you mean it's not awesome? How are you, awesome?
Good, and you?
Not so bad.
Deadly.
Deadly. So tell us about yourself. Tell us how you got into Letterkenny, what kept you going in Letterkenny, how you came across us, et cetera, et cetera.
So my first exposure to Letterkenny was through Tumblr. I saw the gift sets and I saw the little short videos that they had posted. And the thing that really pulled me in was the mangling of the English language. And I find dialect just so fascinating. Mm-hmm. It just pulls me in, and it was dynamic, and it was quick, and it was clever. So, I saw those going around for a year or so before I found some copies.
You made a trip up to Canada is what happened. A long weekend.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
just like we did for Little Kenny.
Visited some friends. And So I finally did get to sit down and watch them all, and it happened to coincide with the birth of my sister's child. And a month later, I had wrist surgery, so I had to recuperate from that. So I had all this time on my hands to do nothing but binge them over and over and over.
Nice.
That's what you got to do. And now, and also you do something you have a little Letterkenny side project. Is that correct?
That is true.
Do you feel like divulging about that, or if you don't, that's fine. We'll leave it at that, and I will edit that part out.
No, it's fine. I do write Letterkenny fan fiction, but I also do make Letterkenny GIFs and little caption videos.
Excellent.
So,
Perfect.
But yeah, my handle on Archive of Our Own is the same as my handle on Tumblr. It's What Do You Mean It's Not Awesome? And I have word vomited to the tune of about 65,000 words in total that are posted and available to be read.
Excellent.
Amazing.
Yeah, and you and I have talked about this offline about my other side project of which is called I have another podcast that I started. I very 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 early stage. It's called Fan Fixture, to basically read basically like an audiobook, or I guess it could be a presentation, voice acting of fan fiction.
The fandom term is called podfic.
Podfic.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, I could go with that. But yeah, the podcast name is called Fan Fixture. So
yeah.
So that's what I called it. And I've so far I've done one just as a test, which was a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy one. But I've got to get used to doing the voice acting thing, because that's a whole different skill set. That
that's a challenge all its own.
You're right.
Also, because you kind of hate like the way you talk, which I love, but when you listen to yourself, you're like, the whole time.
Mostly, when I get this, I hate hearing my laugh.
Oh no!
I love his laugh.
Well, if you're recording a podfic, you're not exposed to laughter, right?
Not exposed to laugh in front of girls.
You're not exposed to laugh in the middle of reading a podfic.
Unless it's Chuck Tingle.
Yeah. Chuck Tingle. Oh man, yeah. Love some Chuck Tingle. Shout out to Chuck Tingle, because love is real.
Absolutely.
What up, my dude?
So, is there anything else that you'd like to plug before we get into this?
At the moment, no.
All right then. So, let's start off with the end of last season, where last season was basically Wayne getting his feet wet with Rosie, and literally and metaphorically, because they did the hot tub together with Bonnie.
Mm-hmm.
They spent some time in the cold together, but it came to Bradley coming out and a fight that happened, and which
that technically Bradley started. Because of Wayne's code of conduct, he needed to finish it.
Right, exactly. And we find out from Bradley that that's how he expected it to be.
Now with the new episode, yes.
So that's how that ended up. It ended up with a cliffhanger of Bradley knocks out Squirrely Dan and Derry for being annoying. Really, 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 really annoying.
He was warned, though.
Katie did warn him.
That's like that behavioral teacher who called the cops on one of her behavioral kids in Seattle the other day.
Oh, stay classy.
Right? Not my school. I would just like to say that. Okay.
Caveat emptor.
Yeah, so that's where that ended up with. And so that we start off with this one. And the cold open is limericks.
Man.
What basically that's about what happened last season.
Yep.
And how that there was a fight that happened, and I if I'd had more time, because one of the things that we got a request on for this episode just today was that we should do our own limericks for
our own cold open, essentially.
Oh, absolutely, McHeckin not. I am way too bisexual to be that clever.
I mean,
right?
if I had been stewed in Irish history with all that, all that character, and maybe, but no, I would have to spend some time to come up with something. But yes, while I might
actually be able to. I haven't written a poem in like a million years, but like I'm intrigued by this idea.
Yeah.
I wish that I had heard it more than 5 minutes before we started recording.
Yes. So
like a week of lead time would have been great.
A little bit.
Right. Robert Lockwood on Facebook. We're giving you a shout out. We're gonna need a little more lead time next time.
But I might have to do this at some point.
So yeah, I mean, maybe we can finish up. We could do it when we do the recap show. Maybe.
Ooh, I like it.
That's when we can do it.
Writing it down.
Yeah, don't let us forget.
I will forget, but I'm writing it down.
So we start off with we have the limericks, and we find out during the limerick not only about what happened with the fight, but one of the pieces in there is that Glenn has now been kicked out of the church, and that he's got to go street preaching. So that's where he's at. Then we jump to a montage. Because you got to have a montage. And basically, it's just all music, but Wayne's choring and just trying to avoid doing anything other than choring.
Another thing that came out in the limericks we didn't mention was that Katie chose Riley.
Right.
And that absolutely comes into play a lot in this episode.
Definitely.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
One thing also I want to point out, Wayne specifically says it's been 2 months since Rosie went packing.
Yes.
Which means that the winter series takes place during the spring before. And this kind of impacts the timeline there when you're trying to figure out where Super Hard Easter fits in.
Yeah. We haven't gotten there yet, so
I know we're not there yet, but that's something to bear in mind.
Yeah, I think logistically, I think they say, okay, here's what we're doing, and because the kind of fourth wall breaking about, it's awfully warm for October. We realize this is not the time of year.
But we can't exactly make our actors dress up in overcoats in 90-degree weather or they might die.
Exactly. So Glenn is preaching, Rosie's reading, the skids are skidding. There's a bar fight that happens.
Doing coke off a record player, and the coke is in the shape of an anarchy symbol, was like my favorite imagery in that whole montage. Though
it really sets the tone for the rest of the series for the skids, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. This. I'm excited with the Glenn skid crossover. That's fun.
That's grand.
Then we're back at the produce stand with Wayne, Derry, and Squirrely Dan. They're trying to talk Wayne and going out to Modine's, and he's like, nope, I got too much choring to do. And then Riley shows up, and Wayne and Derry just start roasting him. Now, what I find interesting about that is that it's just Wayne and Derry, even though Squirrely Dan's sitting there, just kind of sitting there. He doesn't say anything to him. It's just Wayne and Derry.
It's very much a two-hand act.
Right.
Yeah,
and going back to the Little Kenny, where it's them going at the two bullies.
Right.
Yeah. So
and Dan just sits there like, yep, this is their thing. This is what they do. They've been doing it as long as I've known them. So
one thing that strikes me every time I see them do it is it's very vaudeville.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I love that sort of classic comedy flavor.
Just
kills me.
There's such a good mix of
highbrow
genres.
And lowbrow.
Yeah, because you got that lowbrow vaudeville, and then you got some of the stuff with the skids who are very lowbrow characters, but they're doing this Shakespearean type
soliloquies.
Right.
And so it's amazing. It's a really good mix.
A lot of the cold opens are that way too.
Right.
They just remind me of like opening scenes in Shakespeare plays where the main character comes out and basically says a little thing about whatever's going to happen, and like that's every episode I watch, I see more and more Shakespeare references, more and more like I said, highbrow and lowbrow kind of mixed together in a really, really interesting way. I love that.
Yeah, the cold opens are great because they function both as a monologue and as that character is filling the role of a muse
Yes.
and letting the audience know what's going on and setting up the whole situation.
Right.
And the whole episode keeps calling back to that opening.
Right. And they don't have to do like, so many shows who actually have to portray
Previously on.
or even actually show the entire backstory. This is the way they can do it quickly, keep their time tight.
And it doesn't feel like an info dump ever.
No.
It doesn't feel like it's out of place because we're kind of so used to this format that suddenly all of the characters are telling us, hey, this is what just happened, just to remind you.
Right. And this is the first time that it's
Right.
really been
Yes.
that whole group of, even Gail's in it.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
And Sturt.
yeah. So then we go to the gym, which piece of trivia here, and the gym is called The Basement.
Oh.
So
Oh, okay.
little bit of trivia for you. It's written there
That's
on the
the
wall.
only basement the Skids have never been in.
Right?
Probably so. Well, if you see Stuart with his shirt off, you might change your mind.
Bye.
That's not anywhere near this episode, though.
Yeah. And so,
TJ's ripped for a wee dude, isn't he?
yeah, he is.
yeah.
He's scrappy. Yeah. Well,
Sinewy.
Yeah. So yeah, Jonesy's
I feel
there.
weird now that I've actually talked to that human in real life. Like objectifying him feels very strange.
Well, he does. He's very sporty. He
Yes,
works
he's
out.
very
He
sp- he
played
plays hockey.
hockey and lacrosse, and
Still plays hockey.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's he's fit. He is well fit. It is in
Jocks
for real.
is the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the Jonesy's working out, doing his bench presses. He sits up, and who do we find there? These two fellas who are just start hitting on him. We find out that their names are Ron and Dax. And there's this little bit that goes on.
Who brought the rocket, boys?
These Billet brothers are fucking rocket, boys.
Want to watch me shoot from my point, bud?
I got a stick you can handle.
I love so much that they are doing the exact thing that Riley and Jonesy
yeah.
do. Which one was first?
Which?
Who did we see first? Riley or Jonesy?
Oh, Jonesy was
Jonesy.
first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like Jonesy's sitting there like, what the fuck? And in my head, I'm going, that's exactly what you do, bitch.
So yeah, there's
Do we actually ever see Riley and Jonesy chirping like that? Because it's usually the other two guys on the bench, like Shurzy and then
Yeah.
the guy with the long flow and the beard.
I think they've said it about Katie,
Mm-hmm.
but not about
Yeah.
anybody else other than Katie.
And the language is almost exactly like that. But
Yeah,
they also
right.
kind of taught
Yeah, it
the hockey
is.
players to
Right.
chirp in that way.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
like they were the ones who were facilitating the chirping.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if they weren't doing it.
So yeah, and then it's like, I
Yeah.
miss my buddy. I'll be your buddy. I'll be your buddy.
What are we even doing here?
Then we cut to back to the farm in the kitchen, and they're finding out Stormy won't come out of the barn. She's just not. She won't listen. She's not doing anything. The only thing that has ever made him happy,
Her.
her happy is Rosie's dog Cedo, and Katie says, well, why don't you call up Rosie? Hard no. So yeah, not happy. Back to Shorin. So then we're out in front of the dollar store. Riley and Jonesy are out there, and
they
they're
run into
catching
each
up.
other.
Yeah. And,
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Yeah, it's
getting
like-
laid, and Katie makes me do all these things, and
right.
it doesn't really hang out with me or anything. But I'm good.
Yeah, but it's one of those everything's fine moments.
Yeah, they don't
So-
want.
I'm so cool, bro. I'm so sick. I'm so good.
This is fine.
But it's
Everything's
totally
fine.
like these two guys that like really love each other that don't want the other one to feel bad about
Right.
their situation. But
Exactly.
They
Right.
don't realize that the other one is also miserable.
Right.
It's hilarious to me how like the hockey accent gets ramped up
Oh yeah.
in that particular exchange. Are you bummed, buddy?
It's fun. It's because you are you? I believe you said you were originally from Ireland. Is that correct?
No, my family's
family is,
Irish.
okay.
I grew up in Oakland,
Okay,
California, of all
but
places.
but when you talk to your Irish family, I'll bet you
fully
like you
code
with your
switching,
Texas people, me with
accent
Canada.
on
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I think it's like when your energies meet, you kind of you get into that home home with them.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So it's they hook up because when you saw Riley come up to the Hicks, it's like, hey boys, miss me, and it's just he's just trying to keep it casual, and that when they just start ripping on him, so yeah, they're catching up. Then Glenn and the Skids come up right at the same time, and Glenn says he's going to preach, but says Stuart gives them.
This is our place to dance, to disco, to get dirty.
I'm not here to dance, heathen. Unless you ask me to, Raul.
Stuart's reaction in that moment fucking sends me. He just steps right in front of Rold.
I will protect you.
Fully cock blocking.
Literally.
You will only touch tubes with me.
Right? I don't think it's not. And then you can't touch tubes with a religious dude because then you might go to hell.
But no, it kills me because Stuart treats him so poorly, and yes, he won't let him pursue anyone else.
Right.
I feel bad for my dumb Skid son.
Yeah.
But then that they have a discussion about that you've seen a jillion times, and the quotes for Letterkenny, it's about
Reps.
Revelation.
Reps.
Revelation. Revelation.
I called the cops.
And that's, I think this
Bonnie
is
McMurray.
Yeah, Bonnie McMurray.
What kills me is all of them do it, even Glenn.
Yep.
Which I think this is probably the first time that they've talked about cops and Letterkenny.
Yeah.
Because you never see any cops.
Even with all these fights all the time.
There's
that bar fight earlier, there's no way in hell that would have happened in any bar in Seattle without cops being there within minutes.
Right.
So you're talking about a town full of Irish folks. We're not fucking touts. We can solve this amongst ourselves like civilized people.
Right? That's exactly what Wayne is saying. We don't need to, just you and I, we'll hit each other.
Yeah.
Whoever hits the floor loses. We're good.
Throw hands. It's done. No more.
Right. So we're back out on the porch.
Yeah.
And Katie pops out.
How are you now?
Good news.
And tell it to your face.
Love that.
Wayne's sitting there. He's brushing Gus
For the second time in a day.
You don't have to watch me 2 times a day. Yes, he's being a poopy pants.
He's
Hold on.
trying to keep himself
Yeah.
busy. Yeah.
Does that not imply that she has been right on top of him the entire time? She is not leaving him alone.
Oh yeah, and you kind of hear that when earlier. And again, which one is Riley? Which one is Jonesy? Jonesy is the one that she picked. Yes.
No,
Riley's the one she picked.
Okay, so Riley earlier was saying, she's just helping her brother all the time and makes asks me to do stuff, but we never spend any time together. So she's literally for the last 2 months been choring with her brother.
Right. And
having sex every once in a while.
And now she's done, and she's saying, "You got to fucking talk this out, man."
Time to either get over it or figure it out. Figure it out.
She's there for him, but she's not going to take his shit.
Right. And then she shows up at Modine's right after that, and Rosie's there. She's trying to get things going there too. So, and then now one of the things that got brought up by
I love the joke that she made, though. I really wanted you to get that, but it was too late before I remembered. Where have you seen that movie Get Out? Yeah, I've seen it twice. Have you heard they're gonna make a Canadian version? It's called Get Out. Yes,
Get Out.
I love terrible jokes. Hey, friends out there in our Letterkenny page, I keep them coming. I love puns. I love terrible jokes. Do it.
Oh, I have one for you.
All right.
I signed up for the Farmer's Almanac. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent me a confirmation email with the joke in it. What do you call the door of a chicken coop?
What?
The hentrance.
I love it.
Ba-dum-bum.
And I was just thinking that first episode, the episode Rave, where Wayne tells all those awful fucking jokes.
Yeah.
I was just like, that is a Wayne joke. We're not calling them dad jokes anymore. We're calling them Wayne jokes now.
Yeah, about why can't crabs?
Why are crabs always so tired?
Because they only sleep in snatches.
I love them. I love them. They're awful, and I'm hooked.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, Gail, Rosie, and Katie are hanging out. Rosie's like, I'm gonna go read. And Gail starts hitting on Katie, just looking her dead in the eye. Oh
my God, right?
Our Facebook follower, Mark Sparky, said he has an observation. It says, as awkward to listen to as Gail is when talking to Katie about masturbating, it's the maintained unblinking eye contact that puts it over the top.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Would that be good acting, good directing, or just something that comes naturally? Now,
Yes.
one of the things that I read in the Camilla Cole AMA was she talked. Somebody had asked her who was least like their character, and she said it was Gail because she is total transformation when she becomes Gail. She is not like that at all.
Good actress.
So then chalk it up to great fucking
Great
acting.
acting, great
Yeah.
writing. Yeah. So yeah, that
A little bit of everything, probably.
right. So yeah. That was Mark Sparky from our Facebook group. I think he's also in Reddit and some other places as well. But yeah, that's where the question came from, or the observation. So then we're back at the produce stand. We find out that Stormy's had a two knuckler. we have more talks about how many knuckles there are, and Squirrely Dan's like, okay, that's fine.
Fine.
I love it. Wayne's all like, it's clinical. Don't fucking at me.
Was it horizontal?
This is a knuckle. This is a knuckle. This is not a knuckle.
It's not knuckle. I asked.
But yeah, so yeah, Katie gets back out there on Wayne about communicating, and then we have a revisit of a character who
A personal favorite.
Seth. Seth,
the like town
Seth!
Uber driver.
yeah,
I'm guessing.
and he's actually, and I brought this up before. Seth is actually, his name is Seth. I don't remember his last name, but he is actually the transportation coordinator for Letterkenny.
Yep.
So he gets
to have little cameos whenever they're gonna go to a party and
Right.
need a designated driver.
Nice.
Since Wayne's not driving,
Right?
He's not going to Modine's. But yeah, they find out Stormy is in good shape, but is depressed.
Yeah.
Then
I love how Derry asks, dogs can get depressed, and Wayne's immediate reaction is, get real.
well, and yeah, then Katie is talking about, well, yeah, it's, and Stormy can't talk, but you can.
I seriously
Right.
have used that line on you, actually.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
If you don't tell me what you're feeling, how am I supposed to know? It's not like I'm a mind reader.
I'm not telling. I tell when when I'm feeling something bad that it's not your fault.
You don't want to make me feel bad. I get
Right.
it. I get it.
Yeah.
Still can't help if you don't tell me.
Sharing is caring.
Right?
Anyway, back at the gym, at the basement.
Oh, baby. I love you.
Tell it to your face. So we got Dax and Ronnie now hitting on Riley, and we get this.
Yeah.
I'd love to back check you, bud.
It's a butt-ending clinic over here, boys.
You make my stick high. Get it?
Come penetrate the slot, mister.
Need a good D, man?
Show you a good D.
Show you a good D. I love those. Yeah, their chirps are great. And so right after that, cuts to the farm. Wayne makes a call. How are you now? You don't know who he's calling, but you know
who he's calling.
You know who he's calling. Then back at the dollar store, the Skids and Glenn's preaching. The Skids show up, and it's wartime. Basic. That's blitzkrieg, all the different terms for war, and. So then back to the farm, Rosie shows up, and
They don't say anything at first.
Yeah.
She just goes and gets the dog.
Yeah,
And
and so I was basically saying that that we're doing this for the dogs. Such a good boy, such a good girl.
boy, such a boy.
I love the fact that they come up with identical scripts and then both stick to them.
Right. Well,
There's a theory I have about that. We can talk about that.
Well, they do
theories.
that. They do that. Yeah, they do that. It's kind of like the exact opposite of McMurray. It's
Yes.
like, how are you now? They both say it exactly the same.
At the same way, in the same
right.
tone. They both look to the side like, okay, wait, try again.
Yes. No, and that like moment of like, shit, gotta recalculate.
And so so then Rosie gets a phone call. It's Bradley.
Who wants to be on speakerphone?
Right. And
why am I here at my second favorite cousin's birthday party and my first favorite cousin is not here? And her man. Well,
I gotta say, coming from Oakland, when Bradley says, this ain't Biggie and Pop, nobody dead, nobody dying, that shit sends me.
Right.
Bless up.
The first time I heard that, I was like, fuck yeah, that's right.
I say Biggie and Pop.
This bullshit.
The first time I watched that, I literally slapped the space bar on my laptop and I almost fell off the fucking couch. I was holding my niece, all of like a week old, so I was like, don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
But seriously, I had to like stop and breathe through that.
Yeah, and so
it was so funny to me.
And Bradley, even though he's the one who got his ass kicked, he's the one who says,
respect.
Fucking, hey, get after it.
You did what you needed to do. Everything's fine. Let's get over it.
Let's go. Let's have a party. Right after they do a low bones.
And everything is fine.
Everything's fine. Stormy comes out of the barn.
Cito's like barking at her and all excited.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, hi.
Yeah. She just lays down and gives the over the shoulder.
Like, all right, I'm ready for you, honey.
She gives him the big eyes.
Oh, yeah. Puppy dog eyes.
And so then we go to Gail's party and everybody's there and no more poopy pants. And,
there's some awkwardness
Yeah.
Riley and Jonesy are like trying to figure out how to hang out.
And Riley goes and hangs out with Glenn.
Yeah. Although Glenn and Stuart are kind of like hissing at each other at one point during the party too.
Well, Rold is in there at the bar.
Catty.
So
It's like my group of friends when we all get together.
Yeah.
Some of us really like each other, some of us don't, but we make it work.
Yeah. Boy. So yeah, there's not
this episode.
there's a lot of montagey type stuff in this episode. So not a lot of dialogue. But the dialogue is very meaningful. But yeah, it's very, trying to tell a lot of quick backstory using montage work. And the limericks up front.
Well, it's very tight storytelling too, because it doesn't waste any time.
Right.
It doesn't feel like a lot of exposition all at once. And it shows rather than tells.
Yes.
Yeah. Very true. So yeah, and that's where the episode ends. So let's get into thoughts, theories, trivia, questions, etc.
All right.
What do you got for us there?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, so up front, Letterkenny is genuinely one of the only shows I've ever seen where I've never once questioned whether the writers had siblings or not. Because so many shows, you see, like Sibs, and they do nothing but bicker. There's like no other thing to their relationship. And it's very obvious that both Jay Kesey and Tierney know exactly what's up, and once I got into the show, the biggest draw for me has always been Wayne and Katie and their relationship.
Right.
Because it's never a question whether or not they're ride or die for each other, because they're 100% committed.
Oh, yeah.
It's very fulfilling to me to see a fully fleshed out relationship like that, and she's the only person on the show that we see consistently looking out for Wayne just as much as he looks out for her.
True. And understanding, like knowing exactly where he's coming from, knowing exactly what he's going to say.
And she gets on him like about the communication thing because she knows he has a hard time with it, but she's not berating him about it.
Right, because she that's just how her brother is, and sometimes he needs reminding that he can pull his head out of his ass.
Yeah, and
I know what that feels like.
She does have to give him a snap. Come on now.
Why the fuck aren't you talking?
Throughout the show, we see Katie consistently pushing him to be his best self and to let her help him and take care of him. In this particular episode, she spends the entire episode defending and supporting him, but also not putting up with his bullshit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's
a real relationship.
It encapsulates like all the dynamics that go with being together your whole life.
Right. And I think they're
so good.
I think their behind the scenes relationship between Kiso and Michelle has also developed into a sibling type relationship
Right. Yeah. He's mentioned that he calls him and the rest of the crew her Sudbury brothers.
Nice.
I love it. It's so cute. So yes, I love these two Hicks, and my biggest wish for this show is to get them to see them be soft with each other. I guess, I love that dynamic. I just always want more of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I don't know how the soft part plays into it. I mean, because they it's like Wayne.
Well, they're soft with each other, like at the party. Like Wayne is soft with Katie,
right,
in a number of times.
Yeah.
He's very rarely soft with anyone else.
Right.
Yeah, she is the only person he's that soft with.
Yes.
I mean, for fuck's sake, he lets her smush cupcake frosting all over his face and neck.
And just stands there like, okay,
and then
we're doing this.
Yeah, he stands there giggling, and then he like pours sprinkles on himself. He's never done that with anybody else.
But yeah, I think the only soft he reacts to outside of Katie is dogs, especially three-legged.
Pretty much.
Three-legged dogs, especially.
Oh. Three-legged dogs. That's it.
That's Tiara with any special needs dog.
Any dog, pretty much.
Any dog, but you see a special needs dog.
Yeah, no, I am very well known among my circle of friends of having to check doesthedogdie.com anytime we're going to a movie. What were we watching the other day? Where it was like, I didn't check it.
It wasn't a dog either. It was something else.
No, it was oh shit, what was it? With the whale or the dolphin that went through the window.
Oh fuck yeah, The Boys.
The Boys, yeah, an episode of The Boys, and I'm like, doesthedogdie.com, because it's more than just dogs. It tells you basically all the trigger warnings.
I love that website. I check it frequently myself.
The trigger warning: the dolphin dies.
The dolphin does die. In The Boys. Well, actually, there's a few animals that die.
It's The Boys.
If you don't know the comic book that it's based on,
but
you've never seen anything like this.
Speaking of the Boys, Joel Gagne and Jess Seguero are both in it.
Yep.
I love Jess so much.
Oh, she is gorgeous. We
step on me, mommy.
Sorry, what?
I mean, her eyes and she's just
that pout.
Yes. Oh, hardcore. Yes.
I have such compersion from the look on your face right now.
Fan self.
Anyway, I mean about her character.
Character. Sure.
We try not to take it outside of the character. But she is beautiful, and she's an amazing actress. And Joel Gagne,
and seeing her in more things is really exciting. We're seeing her in more and more stuff lately.
Yep. Yeah, in fact, she just made an announcement that she got something else, and I can't remember what it is. But
there were a couple of things, like Tia Horn also tweeted that she had just gotten
the Investigators or something like that. Something to do with like a true crime show. I want to say it's the Investigators or something like that. But
whatever it is, I'm 100% there for Dio.
Totally. Yes, love her too, and everything she does. Go listen to Coffee with My Ma, because that's awesome, and she should be starting her next season of that relatively soon.
Oh yeah, she just posted on Insta about it.
Did she?
Today.
Oh, yeah. I haven't been on Insta too much today, aside from posting our thing about we're recording soon. So any other trivia is
wait, I have a theory though that I did want to bring up.
Yeah. Well, just the trivia that I brought up is about the basement is the name of the gym.
Right.
So for those of you who follow Trivia Tuesday when I do it, that's coming. So
fucking note made.
These will be on the test.
There you are.
Take your note.
So what did you have, T?
All right. So I've talked a number of times on my theories on Wayne being on the autism spectrum. And one of the things that we were talking about earlier, actually us talking about earlier, sparked something in me that made me like furiously write down. And that's why I stopped talking for a few minutes there, because I didn't want to lose that thought. I've had a lot of discussions with people about when you are around people with accents that some people who have that can pick up on it. It's very common for autistic people to pick up the accents of the people around them. And
echolalia.
Yeah, but it's not just that too. It's also a masking technique. They're essentially saying, oh, this is how you're saying it, so I'm going to say it too that way. And when two autistic people are together, they start to meld the way they talk to each other, the way they act with each other. And sometimes when I'm looking at Rosie and Wayne, I'm wondering if both of them aren't on the spectrum. Ooh. And when you brought up the thing about how they said it the exact same way, and then like that 100% feeds into that theory for me, because especially in women, it's really, really, really grossly undiagnosed. And some of the quirks that, would be associated with just being a quirky person really are, probably something else.
For those of you playing along at home, like Tiara, I used to be a preschool teacher, and in a past life, I was also, for my sins, a special education teacher. Yep. And I taught at an autism-specific private school.
Yes, okay.
So we are both coming at this from the same perspective. And indeed, initially, when I watched Letterkenny the first time, I was like, no, relax. You've just got your teacher goggles on. It's fine. It's fine. Just be normal for 5 minutes. And then I watched it with a friend of mine who is also a teacher, and she turned to me and she said, is Wayne ... And I was like, okay, yeah, validation. Thank you.
I wasn't watching it with my teacher goggles on, and someone mentioned it. I think it was on Reddit or
somebody,
one of the Facebook pages.
Yeah, I think it was on Reddit.
There was a post on Reddit, and then I also saw a post in the Letterkenny tag on Tumblr, and I was like, okay, it's not just me, and it's not just my teacher friends.
Yeah, because as soon as that was mentioned to me, I was like, Jesus, how did I not see that before? And like now I can't unsee it. Right. Like rewatching these episodes, especially because I watched the first 3 seasons over and over and over again. Right. So now that we're in season 4, I've probably watched each of these episodes twice. So I'm going into it now for the podcast in more of an analytical mode. I'm like, how did I not see that? How did I not see that? How did I not see that?
Right. Well, I mean,
I was trying to
on the one hand, on the one hand, real recognize real.
Yep, right.
On the other hand, like often, and because I am neuroatypical myself, I often have trouble recognizing like myself when I see it presented to me. And so the fact that I immediately like twigged to this big thing with Wayne, I was like, oh, that's really explicit.
Yeah. Once I really looked at it, I was like they have to know people who are on the spectrum and aren't like stereotypically autistic, which I fucking hate that image that people have in their heads. But
the good doctor.
Well, even that. It's and yeah, you and I were talking about this the other day, that there's really 2 representations of people with autism. You've got people who are like super geniuses but have no social skills, or you have people that are locked in their mind.
Yeah, you got like your Rain Mans on the one hand, and then on the other hand, you got your like nonverbal rocking sort of
screaming if you touch them, it's like which I 100% am that person sometimes, but I'm also very articulate, very empathetic. Like there's so many things that I am. But when I have a meltdown, you can ask Dean, because he is the only adult other than my parents who has ever seen it. It looks like a child throwing a tantrum sometimes. And I'm 40 fucking years old.
Right. Well, I'm 35 and I still go through days where my do not fuck with me bubble extends fully 15 feet beyond my person. Like, do not get nearer to me than this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, so the recognition there is just so important.
And seen as such a normal thing, too, and not talked about.
Right.
Except for the one joke in Letterkenny.
The ethos in this show is amazing in that they will rip the piss out of each other, but not for anything that anyone can't help.
Right. Like Stuart making a veiled gay joke and then Roald being like, huh, and he's like, I'm not talking about you. I'm on your side. Like, I'm only making it because it's something that might bother him, not because I'm actually like against gay people. Oh, okay.
No, I know. And it's like Wayne and Derry, again, ripping the piss out of Riley. They exclusively focus on how he acts. They never target anything that's like intrinsic to him. So, so it's just that Kizo has said multiple times that he treads the line very, very fucking carefully, not to veer into bullying, because bullying's not funny. And it's really easy to see that borne out in the type of jokes that are made on the show.
Which is why so many
Right.
fans
Miss
some of the subtext.
So, yeah, and there's a lot of the, especially on Facebook, I find it. I haven't found it on Twitter so far. And there have been a couple. Here's a good thing about Reddit right now is that I and the other 4 mods on Reddit are very progressive. So we stomp on the hard right J's as soon as we find them.
God bless
the Facebook groups. There's a couple out there.
Couple of fucking DJs.
That mods don't care.
The mods don't care, and they say, "Oh, well, this is Letterkenny. You should expect that." And I'm like, no.
Absolutely the fuck not.
I mean, because somebody calling one of the women a cunt. And I'm like, well, that's what McMurray says that. No, Murray says the word cunt
over and over again.
But he's not talking about someone.
No, he's talking about something.
Yes.
He's talking about pussy.
Yes. So,
yes.
And
well, I mean, and it's 6 of one, half dozen the other, which word you prefer for that particular portion of the anatomy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's so many words out there for it, and they've talked about those before, and that's what it is. But yeah, nobody's comfortable with McMurray talking about slit slam and what
they all think it's revolting.
Right, like that's the whole joke is that he's an awkward fucker.
And how that. I don't want to spoil it because yes, I know it's been out for a while now, but yeah, I mean, but the big reveal at the end is that Mrs. McMurray's been doing this same shit. Nobody's just been talking to her until the very end of it. So, and so it's not like something that solely revolves around McMurray. But yeah, and I've said this before, and I will say it again, and over and over. And Jared Kiso and Jacob Tierney and pretty much everybody in the cast that has seen the tweet has liked it and agreed with it. This is a progressive show. They are very LGBTQ supportive, which they've said before. I mean, and being that, I mean, going up to this point now, you've got Dax and Ron, you got Rolled, you've got Katie, you got Mrs. McMurray, you got Glenn, Bonnie, yep, Tanis. These are all queer characters. So that's 8 that I'm counting right now. There's probably others that I've missed. So yeah, these
none of those queer characters are treated, except for Glenn, I would say, are treated as more as like a stereotype of that thing.
And I think
even
Glenn
with Glenn,
is more
it's really not.
Glenn is more of the stereotype of a Southern
religious.
Yeah. So he just happened, and because you always
there's
wonder,
a lot of closeted gay people in religion down there.
I'm a Lindsey Graham.
I'm going to let the one who grew up in a religious household speak to that. So, I grew up in a family that was like, ooh, you be you boo.
Yeah. Well, Lindsey, because he, that voice, if you listen to Lindsey Graham and there's very, that just that sound, it's just, you pick up on it. And so, it is what it is. If he is, fine. I don't care, but don't be a fucking hypocrite.
Right. But most of the rest of them kind of treat it like Katie kind of treats it like her sexuality is fluid. There's no that she's bi. It's like sometimes she's like, oh yeah, all of those boys over there. Ooh, who's that over there? Yeah,
Bonnie
I like
McMurray.
that one. Ooh, Bonnie McMurray. Oh, I'm gonna go fuck Mrs. McMurray in the bathroom. Like she's just.
It's just whatever happens,
it's
whatever
like,
flows her way.
On Doctor Who, Jack.
Yep. Harkness.
Jack, yeah.
Yes.
Captain Jack Harkness. Yes.
Where he will, basically, if you can sleep with it, he would sleep with it.
Yep.
I feel like that's Katie.
Yep.
If she wanted to.
I want to bring up at this point, and I know, again, this is getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but in the Valentine's episode, both Dax and Ron identify as gay, and yet they are both willing and interested in
role play
pursuing Katie in the speed dating event. I mean, they do eventually settle on Rolled. However, the fact that they do ID openly as gay, and yet they also treat their sexuality as fluid, and it's not made a big deal of.
And they're gay and married.
So
they're gay,
often,
they're married, they're non-monogamous, and they like tag team for each other.
Yep.
Like, it's
it's
a very progressive
amazing
relationship, and I love it.
It's it's amazing to me because when you do get queer rep in media, so often those characters are immediately like pigeonholed into wee boxes and not allowed ever to break out of those. And that's just not true to life in my experience as a queer woman, or, you know, being friends with queer people. And it's gratifying and validating to see that you can show that particular aspect of, you know, what is true to queer life without making it like story points.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I think it's going to be the next episode where we really find out that, you know, that Riley and Jonesy, I realize you guys are gay, but we're the exact same.
They're like, we're not, but we dig you guys because you're kind of us.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the melding of these are our types. These are our people, and they talk like us. They act like us. They just like dudes. You know, that's the only difference. So,
there you are.
Yeah. So that's, you know, it's normal. I think that's the great. It's normalized. All of these things are normalized in Letterkenny, a little town, a rural
tiny town, a tiny rural town in Canada.
Yeah.
Well, okay, and this is something that I've really come seeing this. This show is so dialed in, like, and specifically to like bi culture with the fucking jokes about algebra. And the pants that fucking fit, etc., etc. I want to know how they keep that honesty, like, without outing anybody. I don't want to know, but I do want to know how they get that grip on the pop culture of queer folks. Like, where is that coming from? And thank you for that. Please, keep doing it.
I'm sure that the writers, you know,
we know Keeso and Tierney have a lot of like hockey and acting stuff, and like, but who does add that?
Yeah, I don't know,
that reality, because you don't see those kind of characters acted so quote unquote normally, like you said, on shows unless they're kind of the focus of that show.
Yeah. I'd like to talk to either to Keeso, Tierney, or Trevor Risk, who's now a writer on there, and we follow him on Twitter. Maybe, you know, have an interview with him to get into that mindset of where do these characters come from, and how are they fleshed out like that?
How do you keep that honesty?
Right,
is what I really want to know, because it's genuinely an authentic and very real portrayal, and I really want to know where that comes from.
Yeah, it doesn't feel tropey. No. So it's normal. I think that's really the only way to put it. It's normalized. So
it is, and I appreciate it so much, especially after after 35 years of watching heavily tropey media representations of people like me. It's a breath of fresh air, and that's what I appreciate about him.
Oh, is that what you appreciate?
Well, that is
right.
Do we have any other thoughts, theories, trivia question?
I do have like two short ones. So when Gail hits on Katie, she does it the exact same fucking way she does with Wayne, right? What is she hoping to accomplish there? Like, does she think that scoring Katie will make Wayne more predisposed to her?
I think,
or what?
I feel like Gail has a personal goal of who she can sleep with, and they're like the two people on the list that she hasn't.
Yeah.
So, like, that's what it feels like to me. Like, she's like, come on, you're like my bucket list.
My bucket list.
Let me, right? Let me do it. Let me get on you. I'll do all the work.
I've already been with your uncle.
Right? With your 80-something-year-old uncle.
Oh, and we get
90-something-year-old uncle,
we got back to another Lemon Party reference in this one.
That's right. 10 guys on an IMAX screen. I'd rather watch 10 guys.
A 10-man Lemon Party on IMAX.
Oh, don't let Grammy watch that one.
Okay, everybody go out there, Google Lemon Party.
Do not. If you value your eyeballs, do not. Let Auntie protect you. Do not Google that. Don't.
I kind of
Dean's a bad influence.
At this point, though, I feel like if they haven't, they've heard about it because Lemon Party's been around for as long as the internet. It feels like
quite a while.
Yeah. Oh my God, it has, hasn't it?
And you know,
oh God, that's
the
disappointing.
three of us are old enough to remember a time before the internet was at our fingertips.
That is true. God, no. Okay, I'm gonna date myself right
we're
here.
both older than you.
I know. But I remember when 28.8 kbps was hot shit.
I had a 1200 baud modem.
All I know is that we had a pretty cool computer because my mom worked at a law firm and did a lot of work from home. And I knew that I could get to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. What's the page? The chat room.
Oh, okay.
And that was literally the only thing I did from like age 14 to like whatever that wasn't school related.
There you are.
I was a little obsessed.
Yeah, back in my day, I had to program all my own programs in BASIC on my TRS-80.
Oh my God, I remember BASIC. No, my first computer was a Commodore 64, and we had the complete Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy game on like 6 5.25-inch floppy disks.
You're a hoopy frood.
I am a hoopy frood. I always have a towel.
As do I.
Oh God, yeah.
Have you seen my Don't Panic tattoo?
I have not.
I'll have to send that to you.
Please do.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm a hitcher from way back.
We also had an Apple IIe. Oh man,
those were all in the schools back in the day.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah,
Oregon,
that's
playing
what I
Oregon
learned
Trail on that.
Touch typing.
Yeah,
on.
same.
Yeah, Oregon
Same.
Trail. Oh my God.
Well, technically, I learned how to type on a typewriter, but
same.
But we did have a computer lab by the time I was in, I think, 4th or 5th grade. There was a computer lab at my school, but I learned how to type on a typewriter. There were no computers like standard when I was a kid. Anyway,
right. Any other? Thought series questions. Are we done there? Or did you have another
one last one? One last one. Okay, so when Bradley says good old boys are a dying breed, good old boys got to keep the good old boyhood alive, Wayne agrees that good old boys are a dying breed, and then very specifically says nothing about keeping the good old boyhood alive.
Interesting.
And I wonder, what's the interplay there between author Avatar, Kizo as Wayne, and being the one to write this episode? And then what's like the commentary?
Was that so you think that was intentional that part was left off?
Or it could be like just the way that good old boy is seen in that area. It might be different than how we like. When I think of a good old boy, I think of like the people Dean knows in Texas.
Precisely. And coming from an American perspective, that's to be expected. There is like the cult of good old boys, which is like young men who wear plaid and jeans that fucking fit and drive truck. And they have this idea of what the quote unquote good old boyhood is, even if that's not the way they were raised, and that's not necessarily the environment they grew up in. They have these like romantic notions, but not necessarily that lived experience.
True.
Whereas Kizo, who definitely does have that lived experience, is nothing on this show is accidental.
I keep saying that myself. Yep.
So I find it difficult to believe that was a slip.
Okay.
We'll have to watch for that kind of thing.
I think that was a deliberate omission.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that. But yeah, that's interesting.
I just want to know what's meant by that.
Interesting. Okay. So shall we get into...
Let's do the thing.
Fuck Fight Furta.
Triple A.
We should get like some kind of...
We need to
recording thing there. It's like, Fuck Fight Furta!
Yeah, we need to do something.
Yeah, we need like a ring announcer going Triple A.
Yes!
Funk fight, Ferda.
She wants to fuck Ferda. It'd be like one of those buttons the radio station has that, like, you'll be like, fight, or she wants to fuck him.
There you go.
Yes.
All right,
So,
we're doing
let's
that
start
at
off.
some point,
All right.
someday.
So we're going to start off like we do with the Wainster.
Okay,
This
who's pulling the trigger,
episode
Piglet?
specifically, this episode,
Yeah.
he's such a poopy pants. I would not
Yes.
fuck him in this episode. I would be his friend.
So Ferda.
I always have to remind myself it's this particular episode
That's right.
Yeah, that's rough, isn't it?
for some of the characters.
So, like, on a permanent, ongoing basis, I'm always DTF for Wayne. But in this particular episode, he's struggling so much, you know, and
He's got himself in a
I'm
rut.
torn.
Yeah.
Yes, very much he does. And I think, I don't know, maybe if he could snap out of it, maybe a fuck would help that. But also equally, I cannot envision a Wayne that is not like severely demisexual.
Same. Like he wants
So-
when he was single, he wanted to have quickies and one night stands, but he never quite could really do it. And then, like when he did, it was his ex-girlfriend,
Yeah.
which
And
is
I'm not
totally
even
me.
sure about the. Yeah, no, I'm not even sure about the wanting to bit because he like specifically ignores the come-ons.
Well, not for every.
that get presented to him.
Well,
There were parts when
he was about to head off to the bathroom.
and then he saw Angie's name on the side
And
because
that
he was
stopped
going
him.
to screw the girl. And but like as a
wingman Wayne.
demisexual person, there have been instances where I'm like, that person is physically attractive, and I have absolutely nothing but lust for them. So sure, but for real interest, it takes a hell of a lot more than just a right away thing.
Yeah. No, precisely. And the thing with Jessica that always gets me is it's very performative to me. He only expresses any follow through once Derry's pointed it out. He's more focused on explaining what she's doing to Derry and Dan than he is interested in himself.
Well, until he realized, like, he put together what he was saying. Like, she just gave me the big eyes. All right, okay, I can do this.
Right. The contrast between you don't need to tell me twice and his actual physical actions is just hilarious.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it was about to do it, and then it was
And then it was like,
reality swatted him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So-
right. And then like quite aside. I'm torn. I want to fur to him, but I also always want to fuck him. And I'm afraid I'm going to be shallow. I'm going to go
All right,
fuck.
that's
There's
fine.
nothing wrong with that.
Well, there's no judgment here. No
Half
and
of
no
this is
kink-
all about
and no kink shaming.
No kink shaming whatsoever.
Miss
No.
Katie's.
Thank you. She's so amazing. I am always going to fuck
All right.
Katie.
See, and I never really want to. And in
Always.
this one, I'm way more attracted to her because I see that, like,
Taking charge.
the taking charge, but also
and caring.
really caretaking. Yeah. And you know me. I
Right.
love, if I see tenderness, it makes you a million times more attractive. So this is probably the first time I would be like, I would definitely entertain
All right.
my friend Katie in the bathroom if need be.
All right.
Well, all right, Tiara, internet high five.
Squirrely's Dan's.
Ferda.
Yeah, I'm going to say Ferda too, but mostly because there wasn't a whole lot of Dan in this episode.
No, not a lot. A little bit of the limerick, the fight.
I mean, he was in there. It just
the chat about mixing a
Yes.
batch with dairy.
Yep, masturbation.
That was hilarious.
And then they like jumped up and went their separate ways because there was a
they
game.
immediately
Some
like
ball.
stood up and took
Ball.
off in
Game.
opposite directions.
So
No, but he was so right. He had Wayne like
Oh, yeah.
nailed. Rem Acu Tedigisti. Jesus.
dairy.
Derry earned his fuck in the first 3 minutes
Dancing?
of the show.
Oh, the
Fighting. When he kneed that dude in the face,
See,
I was like, okay, you're it.
I like the beginning that whole scene because he's dancing with the girl and I'm like, who is that? Is that someone we know? No,
Yeah.
that's not someone we know. And they're just dancing, they're having fun. Some dude pushes him and he's like, what? His friend steps right in and he puts his hand on Squirrely Dan's back, like, no, it's okay. But like that's not the end of it. Because as soon as the dude turns, Wayne
No. No.
Derry's like, don't start the thing, Jan. Just wait. Wayne's got this. Like you can almost see him like, I don't want my friend to get in a fight. Wayne will finish. And then a real fight broke out and everyone joined. But That first part where he's got his hand on Dan's back when Dan is like yelling at the dude.
Yes.
I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
You know, it was.
I do. It's support and it's acknowledging what Dan's doing. And it's like, you know, because this is something that fandom does that drives me absolutely up the wall is there is, for some reason, this perception that Derry does not fight.
Oh, Derry totally fights
when
all
that
the
is
time.
absolute. Yeah, that is absolutely.
That's why he's
objectively
legendary.
untrue.
Right. Legendary wasn't just because he drank like an entire keg by himself. It was all the people that he punched out. Patty,
Sammy Sandwich.
Sammy Sandwich over and over again.
Dan stepping in is a show of solidarity for Derry, but Derry could have solved that problem himself. He chose not to do that, though. And then later, when shit kicks off, he shows exactly how good he is at fighting. And to me, that's just competence is my number one bulletproof kick.
Okay.
Competence. And
competence and not
Derry
false
showing
confidence.
Right.
Like real confidence,
Right.
not like bravado.
Right.
Yeah.
Not
but, like,
machismo.
Not machismo.
Derry, as has been pointed out, is a manual laborer and is very good at his job, and the batteries don't quit. So,
oh my,
Derry earned his fuck in that one montage.
I never thought of it that way.
Yep.
Anyway,
so
what did I say?
So we've got one fuck for Derry.
I'm fucking Derry.
Now, all right.
I've converted her.
Now this is going to be a first. Riley and Jonesy are separate.
Oh,
yeah. Oh,
they are
fuck
not
me.
the same person anymore in this instance.
Okay.
So
They still share a brain cell, though.
no,
I mean,
well, they share a love for each other, that's for sure. But they are separate in this, except for a very brief period of time.
Where they're awkward with each other.
Yes. So let's start with Riley.
Which one is Riley?
Long hair.
the blonde.
He got Katie. He don't need to be fucked. He needs a friend. He needs his friend.
He definitely needs a friend. I'm a friend of Riley.
All right. And Jonesy?
I'm actually going to fuck Jonesy because he's by himself and he's so sad and I just want to take care of him and help him. And also, you know, I've never really been interested in the blonde one.
Okay.
Fair. No, I'm very much of a same mind because, like, I don't find Riley attractive. I don't find either of them attractive, to be honest with you. But of the two, if I was going to fuck someone, it would be Jonesy because he's just a bit thicker and I do tend to gravitate towards the darker end of the spectrum. I'm not much for blondes.
Same.
Down with the thickness.
That being said, I am down with the thickness, hence my fucking hyperfixation on Jay Kesey. That being said, I really think Jonesy definitely needs a friend. He needs his partner. Yeah. He needs Riley. And I can't be Riley, but I can definitely burrito this kid in a blanket and feed him beer and pizza until he feels better.
Crush some Sandos with him.
Yeah, honestly, that's my instinct is Ferda the fuck out of him.
All right, then. Now, I don't know how we want to do this. Dax and Ron, they're kind of a pair. Are we gonna?
I mean, they're a
they're
pair,
a single
100%.
unit.
Even if they do things separately, which they do because they talk about competitions with each other later. They're just like Riley and Jonesy. They are a match set.
All right. So
can't get one without the other.
And in this particular episode, I am not a fan because I don't like the catcalling part so much, but it is really fun to see it turned on its head and it's dudes hitting on another dude.
Yeah.
I like that. But I'd Ferda. If I could get past the crassness, because I'm a totally crass person, just not on first introduction. Like first introductions, I'm going to try and be a lady for like a second so that you think that I am. And then...
then you're going to say, I'm no fucking lady.
I ain't no fucking lady.
All right, so Ferda for Dax and Ron.
I say Ferda.
All right.
Same, Ferda. Right. I mean, I appreciate the verbal dexterity, and I do. Again, I'm of a like mind with Tiara. I agree very much that it is hilarious to see that dynamic turned on its head. So yeah, definitely Ferda.
All right.
Now, if I was a dude who was gay, I would 100% fuck those dudes because, I mean...
Even if I was a dude who was straight, I'd be like,
they're pretty dudes.
I'd be
They're
curious.
very pretty.
Yeah.
I'd be curious. They bring this dynamic and they show off, and
they really
it's
you can tell that
intriguing.
the two of them together would make an amazing time in the bed. Like their communication, their curiosity, their
they are a power couple.
Which God, I was just going to say a power bottom, but which one would be the power bottom in that situation?
DJ White power bottom.
Oh no!
All right, Glenn.
I don't like people preaching the word of God in my face. So
no.
I think I would
Glenn.
too.
Oh my!
Especially if he was like, "I'm going to preach here, and I'm going to invade your space, and I'm going to be where you want to be because I know you're not going to be here if I preach. Fuck you."
So I have culturally, like deep-seated resentment for evangelicals because I am Irish Catholic, but I'm also half Jewish.
Oh my. That's an interesting combination there.
Yeah, I know, right? Only in California.
Probably.
No, I lie. There are plenty of Irish Jews out there. But no, I'm sorry. There are 9 times out of 10, I will fight Glenn. I don't care how fucking skinny and nerdy he is. I will hit him out of classes.
All right.
All right then. Sturt.
He's done so much coke. I would wonder if he could even get it up at this point. Like, that's all he's doing in this episode, really.
Got to do some dick dingers.
Typically with coke, getting it up is not the problem. Getting it to go down.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we doing with Sturt then?
I'd fight him on
Yeah,
principle.
I think I would actually fight him in the sun. Probably all the skids.
Okay. Right. Even, what about rolled?
Because he cock blocks
That is true.
rolled. Because because he cock blocks rolled, I would fight Sturt. Rolled in and of himself, I would 9 times out of 10 again. 99 times out of 100, I would Ferda rolled.
I'm with you, Rosie.
Ooh,
see, if I look at it based on or like wrapped around the kind of theory that I have, I get her a little bit more. Like I totally relate to her just wanting to have quiet and sit and read her book, and for her, that's a hyper focus moment.
Right.
She doesn't like everything else just goes away. Again, that's a very autistic. But she also, and I say the same thing with Wayne, sometimes those hard rules really get in the way of you being able to live your life, and being inflexible is only going to make you miserable. So I would be a friend. I would be like, girl, you need to just get over it.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that she didn't have that Wayne had. Was she didn't have a Katie.
Right.
To sit there and in her ear.
But then she had Bradley.
Right. And not until the very end. So,
not until Bradley was like, it's all right. Why are you upset with this dude over this thing that was between us? And it's over. Why is this happening? And okay. Like someone had to tell her that it was okay to forgive him.
Yeah.
And once she was told to forgive him, she was like, okay, I can do that. So
I don't need you to be offended on my behalf is basically what Bradley was saying.
Exactly. Which is something that I say a lot.
Yeah. So how about you, Rosie? Yeah.
For me, number A, I've got to caveat emptor. Rosie is my brand. Like I have a very specific weakness for beautiful black girls, which spoiler alert, they're all beautiful. That being said, I deeply, deeply empathize with Wayne falling for her, like pretty much from jump. And the other thing that's complicating this for me is that I really admire her sticking to her principles. You know, she says, my loyalty to my family will not be compromised. And I identify heavily with that.
They're both the same.
Yeah, I can't.
They are both exactly. They are the same person, just different bodies.
Yep.
They really are. The similarity there. So, like, there's a lot of attraction for me for Wayne, not just because Jay Kesey, but also because of Wayne intrinsically, like who he is and himself. And the fact that Rosie is repeatedly shown, not just in series 3, but in this episode, repeatedly shown to be just like Wayne is a huge attraction for me. So I'm going to say fuck.
Get after it.
Like, she might not be into it. If she's not into it, then definitely
Well,
Ferda.
yeah, I mean,
But sometimes Ferda can include the
Yeah,
fucking.
well,
we have implied consent in this game.
I think
if they consented, if you consented.
If it was all, if everything was all equal or all the way around.
So, yeah,
All right.
fuck. I'd fuck
All right,
Rosie.
then. How about the second favorite cousin, Gail?
Gail's so thirsty.
Right?
Fuck.
I mean, there is a very big part of me that is curious because I bet she knows a hell of a lot more than I do.
Well, she probably knows a hell of a lot more
yes.
than most people in the town,
That's a given.
including the McMurrays.
I mean, she
Oh, that's a high fucking bar
knows
there,
what the
son.
McMurrays are all up to, and like
Oh,
she's
yeah.
into it. Like, yeah. But we don't.
That's
We don't.
true.
We know
She
in the
did
hot
do
tub
the
scene.
Yeah.
hot tub thing.
She's
But anyway, that's a couple episodes in future. I'd fuck
I
Gail.
think I would too.
yeah. All right then.
Like, it's her birthday.
Sure.
We're just having fun.
Hell yeah. You, me, Gail,
There you go.
threesome.
There you go.
What?
Bradley.
Fuck Bradley. Yes.
That was easy.
He looks too much like Wayne Brady, and I can't get it out of my head. I mean, I'm super sorry that I've never seen
Does Wayne Brady need to smack a bitch?
Oh my God. I'm so sorry I did that to you. From the first time I saw Bradley in any episode, I was like, is he related? Like, yeah. And now I can't unsee it. So
Oh my
I'm
God.
going to say Ferda just
No,
because unless I'm like, I've had a few drinks and I'm feeling a little less tense about the whole Wayne Brady thing.
Okay. Just focus on the fact that A, he's a stand-up guy. B, he's willing to admit he
Oh my
was
God, that was
wrong.
really sexy.
C,
That was really sexy.
Yes. You know, he took his licks and he respected the outcome and he was absolutely on board for Wayne and Rosie getting their shit together. So, I mean, that's supportive and that's very familial and I super appreciate it. And also Adrian Holmes is hot as fuck.
Cannot deny.
And plays Clark Backo's dad in Supernatural.
Oh, right. Which also really funny.
Caveat emptor. Never seen Supernatural. I watched like one episode and I decided, you know what? Buffy did it better.
No. I'm guessing you just watched first season. It gets so much better. First season kind of sucked compared to like I would say season 3 to like 3 years ago was pretty good. Like really good.
My one
Kinda like Buffy.
other,
Kind of like
the
Buffy,
one other
yeah.
wrinkle.
But Buffy didn't go on for 17
The
million
one
years.
other wrinkle in that sheet is that I kind of hate Jared Padalecki.
Really?
He's such a
Yeah.
angel. He's like a sweet baby angel.
Aside from Misha
Like in
Collins,
real life, I mean.
aside from Misha Collins, he's probably the most sweethearted guy in that crew.
So I don't even like Gilmore Girls, but my husband is fucking
I
obsessed
understand
with
now.
it.
I knew him from Gilmore Girls as well, but
And he's a fucking douche
And,
rocket.
they actually there's an episode
they make fun of
that
him,
they're on a
essentially.
studio tour
Yep.
looking for a ghost, and they say, "I think they shoot Gilmore Girls over here." Well, let's go this way then.
Hilarious. But also, no, it's just occasionally you run across a person and it doesn't matter how sweet natured or friendly they are in real life, they just have that douchey face. And it's just like a fundamental incompatibility. I think I've got that.
That's,
All right.
I totally understand that. There are several celebrities out there that the look of their face makes me want to smack them. So I get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you've got resting
Exactly.
douche face.
Well, and it can be different to each person.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
Precisely.
let's be
It's all individual taste.
exactly.
All right, so let's move on. These were briefly seen. Tyson.
Let's do the ones that were really briefly together because in that fight scene, you had Tyson, Joint Boy, you had Jim.
Oh, Jim
in the cowboy
Dick Skin.
Dick Skin, the tall with the and that was a hot part right there
Dickens.
because he was like head and shoulders above everybody walking through.
Him glassing, when he glassed that motherfucker over the head,
And then
I was
Gail
like,
handed
yeah,
him
all
another
right,
beer.
Jim Dickens can
She
get
had it ready to go.
Jim Dickens can get it.
So
I have said before that
And Tyson can't get it. I'm not so much on JB.
I find him hilarious, and also I'm a giant pothead, so that totally works for me. But I'm with you on that. Tyson and Jim, if we were talking pure like sexual attraction, I'm attracted to those two, not necessarily Joint Boy. But just the Joint Boy reminds me of people that I know and I'm very comfortable with those people. So,
all right. So we're fucking Jim. So what are we doing with Tyson and Joint Boy then?
I'm fucking Tyson. I'm Ferda-ing Joint Boy.
I think I'd fuck all of them in this one because they don't. There was nothing in it that makes me not want to.
All right. All right.
I'm such a whore in this episode. I love it.
And then, lots of fucking going on in this episode.
I'm in a mood.
It's a sexy
and then the last one, Bonnie McMurray.
No, she's still too young for
me. Let's paint dry.
She is definitely
especially
too young
season 4. I mean, she's old enough to work in the bar, but
you could let the paint dry a wee bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, because she's,
in this episode she would be like 19.
19, yeah.
Nope. No, thank you. That's my stepdaughter's age.
Okay, so again, I know I say this a lot, but caveat emptor. I was born the day before Jared Keezo. If Wayne is too old for Bonnie McMurray, so am I.
Well, Wayne's own personal philosophy probably says they should be within like a couple of years, and she's more than a couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah,
but not like a
definitely.
huge amount, because again, she talked about in earlier episodes how she used to watch him dance with his girlfriend. So
yeah, we got to assume that he's probably in the show.
Like
he's
senior
probably
versus freshman in high school.
He's
kind of thing.
probably 25.
Yeah.
Plus.
Oh no, I've done some like cocktail napkins maths on this. At the start of the show, Wayne like at max is 23 or 24, just turning 24,
that's what I said.
Right?
Yeah.
And so at this point in the show, because series 1 and 2 take place over the same summer, and then series 3 is the first winter, so that's 1 year.
Series 4 is still part of that year, I think. Like, I feel like...
Series
No,
series
back in the
4
is the next
Is it spring again?
Or summer, spring, yeah, spring, summer.
Yeah. So he's like 24 or 25, and if she's just 19...
Well, the actress was 19 at that time.
Oh, she's 20. Yeah,
she's 21 now.
She's 20. Yeah, she's 20. She
just turned 21.
No, oh yeah, she's
the actress for real life. Yes.
Yeah, but Bonnie is 20 as of last season because of Battle for Bonnie McMurray.
Okay,
so she's in her character is at this point in time either 20 or 21. So
still too young.
So the thing is, though, is also Wayne seems to have like quantum age, right? Like it's not fixed, right?
None of them have a fixed, except for Bonnie McMurray.
Right. Yeah.
No, but it's like it's not fixed until you look at it, and because Jared is too old for Camilla, Wayne is too old for Bonnie, and that's just how it is.
Probably.
Yeah.
And if Jared is too old for Camilla, then
I would imagine that, because when she was hired to do the show, she was 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So
and playing older. She says she was playing older.
Too fucking young.
And so I could definitely see being really uncomfortable with having,
because she was 16 and playing Home from college.
Yeah.
So
home from school.
That's just
it was home from essentially from college, because they implied that they all went to the same high school. So she wasn't away for high school; she was away for college.
Okay.
So
So I mean, I'm thinking that if Wayne was a senior, Bonnie was probably a freshman.
That's the theory that I have on their age groups, because or it could have been like a middle school, high school together, and she saw them as a middle schooler.
Not only that, but Bonnie is very motivated and very smart. She does a lot of things. She could have been
accelerated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
lots of theories around that.
Yeah. Oh, lots of them.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's all the characters. I don't think I have any others.
I'm pretty sure that was.
Yeah. It's what's odd was
I think we ticked all our boxes.
That Tanis was Tio was mentioned in the credits, but she wasn't in the episode. So, but yeah, she's always a fuck.
Always,
even when
100%.
Even when she's being
step on me, Maddie, please.
All right. Anything else that we have to cover? Anything we missed? All right. Are we good? Okay.
I think we're good.
Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us where we can find you again on your stuff.
I am on Tumblr at What Do You Mean It's Not Awesome. I am on Archive of Our Own colloquially known as AO3, at the same handle. What do you mean it's not awesome? On Twitter, it's WDMI, not awesome. That's Whiskey Delta India Mike
Alpha.
Yeah.
That's the military guy.
Yeah. No. But it's the first couple of letters and then not awesome. And also I am on Reddit as ashamed-of-yourself.
All right.
So,
all right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to reading some of your fanfic of this. I think it'll be incredible.
And we very, very much appreciate you being a patron. A
Patreon patron.
That's hard to say.
I usually say
it is.
It's
a tongue twister.
Patreon subscriber.
Okay. That's better.
Fair. You know what?
Yeah, that's right.
Fake it till you make
All
it.
right. Well, thanks again. And we look forward to chatting with you in the future as well.
Oh, yeah. I'll definitely be back.
Right. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
All
you
right.
too. Bye.
Thanks for listening to How Are You Now? If you've enjoyed the show, please subscribe, give us 5 stars, and a nice review. If you have thoughts, theories, trivia, or questions that you'd like to address, send us an email at howareyounowpod@gmail.com or reach out to us on any of our social media. This week's intro and outro music was provided by the Smile Syndicate. You can find them at thesmilesyndicate.com as well as the Smile Syndicate podcast. Their information and links can be found in our show notes. If you are an indie band and would like to have your music featured on our show, send us an email. Also, please check our Spotify playlist for bands who have given us their music to play, as long as they're on Spotify, that is. The link to this playlist is also in the show notes. We'll see you D-Gens next time.